Have you ever watched a movie and realized you weren't actually watching the movie like you thought you were, but then it ends, and somehow you're sitting there thinking about your own life? That happened to me this week. I rewatched 27 Dresses. The first time I watched it, it was just a rom com. Cute, funny, predictable. But this time, I couldn't stop thinking about Jane. She has 27 bridesmaid dresses in her closet. 27. Because she spent years saying yes to everyone else's big moments, while her own life just kind of waited. And somewhere in between all those weddings, she stopped asking herself what she wanted. I don't know why that hit me so hard. Actually, I do. Because I've been feeling kind of stuck lately. Not in a dramatic, my life is falling apart kind of way. Just stuck. And I don't think it's because I don't have ideas. If anything, I think I have too many. Which brings me to my notes app. It's genuinely kind of embarrassing. There are episode ideas, business ideas, random lyric, half-written thoughts, multiple things. And then there are notes that literally just say, don't forget this. Forget what? Who knows? Every single idea feels like the greatest thing I've ever thought of when I'm writing it down. And then I open the app a week later, and it's like looking at 50 different versions of myself. The songwriter, the filmmaker, the person who wanted to start a business. Apparently, the person who wants to write a rom-com after watching every other rom-com also exists. And the thing is, I genuinely want to do all of it. That's the actual problem. It's not that I don't care, I care too much. And caring too much about too many things at once has a way of making you care about nothing at all. That was an important realization that I had while I was watching the movie. So I'll open the app thinking, okay, today I pick one thing, and then I'll scroll and scroll, and 40 minutes later I've done absolutely nothing, close the app, open Netflix, end up rewatching 27 Dresses at midnight on a Sunday, which honestly is a little ironic. But then I thought to myself, why being stuck feels heavy? You know what? I always assumed people got stuck because they didn't know what they wanted. Like they were waiting for the right idea to come along. But lately I've been thinking, that's not true. I think you can get just as stuck when you want too many things. Because every idea feels important. Every decision weirdly feels permanent. Like if I choose this song, am I giving up on that story? If I spend the next 6 months making this series, does that mean I'm putting everything else on hold? And suddenly, choosing one thing starts feeling like losing 50 others, which logically, I know isn't true. But fear isn't exactly logical. It will convince you that one decision somehow decides your entire life. So instead, you don't choose. Because somehow that feels safer. Until you realize it's been weeks or months and nothing has actually moved. I don't think procrastination is always laziness. Sometimes I think it's perfectionism wearing a really convincing disguise. In my case, I think it's pink, probably. The feelings. I wasn't even planning on going here today. But creative stuff and emotional stuff, they're more connected than I thought. Because when I actually sat with why I keep closing the notes app instead of picking one thing, it wasn't really about the ideas. It was that choosing one thing always feels like closing a door on something else. And that's not just a creative problem, that's just a me problem in general. So I guess we're doing this today. Have you ever had one of those days where you genuinely think you've moved on from something? Like you're good, you're living your life, you're not thinking about it anymore, and then, out of nowhere, a song plays or you watch a movie, or you walk past a place you haven't thought about in months. And your brain goes, oh, right. It is so annoying because for a second you think, seriously, we're doing this again. And it's never the big things that get you. It's always something tiny. The kind of evening light, the smell of someone's perfume, one line in a movie, and suddenly you're back there for a minute. I think the hardest part isn't even missing someone. It's not knowing. You don't know if they ever think about it. You don't know if it mattered to them the way it mattered to you. You don't know if somewhere completely random they also have a Sunday where something reminds them of you. And honestly, you'll probably never know. And I think I've mostly made peace with that. Mostly, which, by the way, is very different from completely. Sometimes I catch myself doing this really weird thing. I'll replay a conversation in my head. Not because I think it's going to change anything. Obviously it won't. But I'll think, maybe I should have said this instead. I should have done this instead. It's like my brain is trying to negotiate with a version of the past that doesn't exist anymore. And somehow, it never gets tired of trying. I also think we underestimate how attached we get to the potential. Sometimes, you're not even grieving what happened. You're grieving what could have happened. The version where everything worked out. Where people said the right things, where timing was perfect, and nobody got scared. And that's such a difficult thing to let go of. Because it never gave you a reason to. It never became real enough to disappoint you. So it stays perfect. And perfect is really hard to move on from. I've also realized memories are kind of strange. They're not fixed. They change depending on who you are when you remember them. Sometimes you look back and smile. Sometimes you look back and cringe. And sometimes you look back and miss a version of yourself that only existed because of someone or something. I think that's what makes moving on so complicated. It's not always about letting go of something else. Sometimes it's about letting go of who you were with them. And that's the frustrating part because you know all the right things. You know what your friends would say. You know what your therapist would probably say. You know what you'd tell someone else if they came to you with the exact same problem. And somehow, none of that ever stops the feeling from showing up anyway. Feelings are kind of rude like that. They don't really care how self-aware you are. I think we all have something that quietly visits us every now and then. A person, a moment, a version of life we thought we would have. The big grand what if. Your brain can make almost anything feel real if you think about it long enough. And for a while, that imaginary version feels comforting. Until you remember it's imaginary. And somehow, creative stuff and emotional stuff don't feel that different. Your mind gets crowded. Everything slows down. Nothing flows. And you start wondering if something's wrong with you. I don't actually think there is. I think sometimes you're just carrying a lot. And carrying things is not easy. And you know what's funny? Sometimes I'll go weeks without thinking about it. Completely fine, busy, working, living my life. And then, for absolutely no reason, my brain decides, hey, remember this? Like, thanks. Really appreciate the timing. I've also realized that healing isn't as linear as people make it sound. I used to think moving on meant waking up one day and feeling nothing. Like I'd reached some finish line where none of it mattered anymore. But I don't think that's how it works. I think you think about it less. Then one day you think about it again. And instead of staying there for hours, you stay there for 5 minutes, then 2, then 30 seconds. And one day, it just becomes another memory. Still important, just lighter. I think that's what people mean when they say it gets better. Not that it disappears, just that it stops taking up so much space. And maybe that's enough. Which brings me back to Jane. 27 dresses, 27 weddings that weren't hers. And the thing everyone forgets about the movie, she does eventually put on her own dress. Not because she suddenly had it all figured out, not because she stopped being scared. She just stopped waiting for the right moment to pick herself. She picked late, probably terrified, but she picked. And maybe that's the whole thing. You don't need 40 different signs. You don't need to stop caring about the other 49 ideas. You just need to put one dress on. So, creative stuff, emotional stuff, both of them come down to the same thing. I think you're carrying a lot, and carrying things is heavy. And sometimes the weight of all of it, the ideas, the feelings, the what ifs, makes you freeze instead of move. Turns out every choice isn't exactly a closed door. It's just a door you're not looking at right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with you when that happens. I really don't. I think you just need to put something down. Pick one thing, do it badly, do it again. I'm trying to take my own advice. Slowly, imperfectly, but trying. Okay, that's episode 2. Hi, I'm myfreak.